history is in business and nonprofits. So I've done quite a bit of marketing and communications and a lot of work around sustainability issues, about 13 years. I do more of the conceptualization, upfront conceptualization, and I play a business role, an organizer role, and a people role. I think that documentary is fresh because it's real, right? And I think that it's also educational, and that's what I love, because when people walk away from a documentary, they've always learned something. And I think that media in particular needs more of that. You see all these reality TV shows that are actually quite contrived, but they're called reality TV shows, and they're very, very popular. So I think we're moving in that direction where people are very hungry for something that's real.
So I'm very excited about this new project you're working on. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure.
Honoring aging women.
In this documentary, we look at how women are treated as they age in America. And it's more of a critique, because often what we find are people who are getting Botox younger and younger. I have friends of friends who are in their 30s and they're getting Botox, which I just think is amazing. I mean, part of me feels like people should do whatever it is that makes them feel good. At the same time, it makes me very sad that someone that young feels that they need to do something like that. I think that people in this country are programmed to be very skinny, have big boobs, no wrinkles, and to have skin that looks like plastic. So we look at it from that perspective, and then we also try to look at it from a policy and cultural norm perspective. So we talk to a couple of professors of law at Georgetown University, and they speak to those policies. And then we talk to activist organizations, so women supporting other women. What are the resources out there to help women in their aging process? Women represent 51% of the population. So if over half of the population is down or oppressed, the whole population is down. So if you bring them up, then everyone benefits. And at the very end, we ask everybody we talk to, what will our country look like when we honor aging women? Because I want to take people to a place of vision. The documentary is issue-based, it's not character-based, so it's really a mosaic of voices that we hear. But we do get in a little bit into these women's lives. There is one woman that has been cutting out advertisements for the last 20 years or so of women that have been depicted in a sexually degrading way. And she has written letters to the advertisers telling them that these advertisements are unacceptable. So she and I are going to do an art installation with these advertisements.
Wow, that would be
interesting. Yeah, and she's in her 70s. We are in a patriarchal society. So right there you have the man on top. And so I think that's a big one. That's a huge contributing factor. And I also believe that there is a business out there for plastic surgeons, makeup, and all of these things. There's a market for it. So in America, if there's a market for it, people are going to do it. And there's also trends in generations. In the 60s, people were supposed to be anorexic, very skinny, and now it's the big boobs and then maybe a butt implant and, and everything else very skinny. Ultimately, a woman is responsible for whether she is happy or depressed and the decisions she makes. Does she buy into the advertising, right? That's her choice. Does her happiness come from within, or does it come from something outside? So I think that is something that we as human beings battle all the time, whether our happiness comes from inside or the outside, or a combination of both. So in order for this to change, I think consumers and citizens, human beings, need to really take advantage of their power and not buy into things. And if they don't like an advertisement, say something, write to the company, and don't buy the product. When we do talk to women, they talk about their struggles and they also talk about their success. So we're trying to compare and contrast messages that women get, how they hurt themselves, their own internal stories, how they put themselves down, and then how they're able to transcend those barriers and find happiness and personal success under those conditions. So we're really trying to show models of how other people can also transcend their own barriers. The topic is so relevant to our times, and the content is so rich that I think that really resonated for people. And so when women came up to me afterwards and said, finally someone is talking about this, because I experience every day, but no one's talking about it, that meant a lot to me. And then to have men come up to me and say that this is wonderful, and they share their own experiences with me, because we're in this together. It's not a male versus female thing. It's how do we work together to make our communities and families and society better.